All right, everyone, call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll get moving right on with our first presentation, and which will be from our auditors. Turn it over.
Good evening. I'll try to make this as brief as I can for you, give you the high-level summary here. So, met with the audit committee and went through the results of the audit just a few minutes ago. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Chris Healy. I'm an audit partner at Mengel Metzger Barr, or MMB, and we're the district's auditors, and I oversee the audit of the district. So the financial statements are in draft form. A few minor tweaks are expected, but nothing overly significant. And we expect to have the finals either later this week or very early next week to be filed with the state by the 10/15 filing deadline. So we did audit the financial statements in accordance with professional standards, which say that we use our professional judgment to perform a risk assessment and perform procedures that are responsive to those risks. We are obtaining reasonable assurance, not absolute assurance, when we perform our procedures. So we're not looking at everything that happens during the year within the district, but we're really focusing on those areas of higher risk and designing our testing accordingly. So we will be issuing an unmodified opinion or a clean opinion, which is what you're looking for. That's the highest level of assurance that we can provide that says, in our opinion, we believe the financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects. As part of the process, we consider your internal controls. We don't provide an opinion on your internal controls. If we encounter something that we feel is a significant deficiency or material weakness, that rises to the level that we're required to report those items to you. We do have two items to report, one related to the dollar amount of adjustments that we made, primarily related to year-end cutoff of reconciling items, accounts payable, accounts receivable, revenue, year-end type adjustments, again, mostly based on the dollar amount. And then also related to your non-compliance with the 4% real property tax limitation. So you're over that 4%, not uncommon lately with the extra funding that's been that's been out there, and knowing that there are certainly cuts coming here in the future. So not uncommon to see currently, but still non-compliance with the law nonetheless. We also performed a single audit in accordance with the uniform guidance because you expend greater than $750,000 in federal awards. The programs that we tested this year as the major programs were the Education Stabilization Funds and Title I. So we actually tested about a little over $10 million out of your $13 million of federal awards for the year, and we have no findings to report related to those compliance areas. So certainly no small feat for Kathy and the team here to have no findings in those areas with the complex compliance requirements that are out there. In addition to the main district financial statements, we also audit the extra classroom activity funds, where we will be issuing a qualified opinion on the extra classroom activity funds. That's really standard practice for the most part now. We're able to audit what's reported, but because those funds are on the cash basis of accounting and there is so much cash changing hands, there's really no way for us to know what should have been deposited to the bank but didn't make it there. With cash, it's just the nature of that. So otherwise, we audited everything that we can, and we have no significant items to report there. A few minor recommendations based on what the state is looking for in terms of compliance with their guidance. But otherwise, just want to say thank you to Kathy and the team for all their help in getting us all the information. And excuse me. Happy to answer any questions if there are any. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Next item, we have a proclamation for our Kingsboro Garden Club. If the kids are here, some of them, I'll read this off, and everybody's here. When I call your name out, just come on up, okay? So I'll read this, and you come on up. Whereas the Board of Education The Gloversville Enlarged School District recognizes the exemplary kindness and community involvement of Gloversville High School scholars. Whereas these scholars partnered with the Kingsboro Garden Club in a project to revitalize the Veterans Garden. Scholars worked efficiently, carefully, and cooperatively, planting mums, spreading mulch, and cleaning up the area. Whereas these individuals are Mason Colson, whatever way you want. Oh, yeah, everybody's gonna see. Could have taken the shortcut. Like the shirt too. Congratulations. Next is Dante Maldonado. Alexander Town.
That's a good move.
Congratulations. Great job. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Christian Velez.
Thank you.
One more. I'm Skylar White.
Thank you.
Thanks, Skylar. Good job.
Thank you.
There's many video. Read all this. All right. Be it resolved that these individuals exemplify teamwork, community service, and respect for our veterans, and now be it hereby resolved that the Board of Education, the Gloversville Enlarged School District for the City of Gloversville takes due note of their dedication and humanitarianism and congratulates them on this accomplishment. Thank you very much, guys. Now you're free if you want to escape. Or you can hang out. Nice job, guys. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I'll say bye, everybody.
I got one second.
Oh, nice. You did that intense, nice. Next item is public comment. We have anybody for public comment tonight? Come on up.
Hello, my name is Margie Fagel. I represent the Gloversville Teachers Association. I've been president for a couple of years now, but I have yet to actually speak to the board. I just wanted to say how excited we are to start the school year. It's been crazy, it's been a whirlwind, but we love our kids. And I know we call them scholars, but they're still our kids. We love what we do, and we are so excited about the district's goal of building relationships. We can't wait to continue to build relationships with our kids, with our parents, with our admin, and with all of you. So thank you very much.
Anybody else for public comment tonight? Move on to the next item, which is board discussion. First item, we have the minutes from the September 9th meeting. Anyone have any questions or comments, concerns on those? Motion to approve those by John, seconded by Kelly. All in favor on that? Anyone else have anything for board discussion tonight? All right, move on to the next item, which is superintendent's report.
Good evening, everybody. Christina, were you gonna speak about mentor program and yonder pouches in your report? You were, okay, so I'm gonna leave those alone. Crossing guards, I'm gonna go to number 2 of my report. Crossing guards, City of Gloversville request. So Vince DeSantis came to see me a month and a half ago to let me know that the City of Gloversville's budget is in tough shape, and they are on a calendar January 1, December cycle. And I think he's saying there's several million upside down, so I don't want to speak too much for the mayor, but he was hoping that the school district would consider absorbing the costs of the crossing guards. For pre-COVID, the cost was roughly $42,000 to $44,000. It's now over $90,000. They partner through they hire through a company out of California. The name of the company eludes me at the moment, but there are 5 crossing guards. I think there are 2 by Boulevard and 1 at Kings, 1 at McNabb, and 1 at Park Terrace. So that's the current allotment of crossing guards. Why they've gone to a third party to hire these folks, I'm not sure. But I printed this other piece of paper for you just to show you, it's the municipality's responsibility for providing crossing guards. School districts can enter into agreements and pay for them, but they are not district employees. I told the mayor that I would put this in front of the board, and said that if the board wanted him to come in and speak to you directly in November, that we would invite him to do so. But I wanted to put it on your radar. Obviously, our budget is 6 months later. Are crossing guards required in a city like Gloversville? I'm guessing they're not required, but is it a good practice? I certainly think we can all agree it is. So, as the fiscal,
Is he looking for us to absorb it all, or part of it, or?
I think at this point, he would take whatever he could get. Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna cut it right out of his budget totally, because of how rough things are for the city at the moment. I think that's something, maybe he can provide some more clarity if we bring him in November and ask him to have the conversation directly with you. It's not my place to go enter into an agreement in such a matter. It's something the Board of Education would definitely have to weigh in and decide yes, no, partly, should do what we can. Obviously, the reality is, we have young children walking to and from school across sometimes busy streets, and they serve a valuable purpose. I think we can all agree upon that.
My only question is, it's $90,000 a year for how many?
5. 4 hours a day, roughly 4 hours a day, I think, for each. Yeah, when you do the math, there's probably some profit in there if it's a third-party company out of California who's providing these guards. Yeah, I don't know much about it beyond that. Brian Seeley was the only person I knew who used to do it. I don't think he's doing it anymore.
I think his wife does.
His wife still does?
I think she does Park Terrace.
Okay. So maybe it's something that, again, according to New York State, this is right off of the New York State law, the Commissioner of New York State has the authority to create rules and regulations regarding crossing guards. It says they're not, however, crossing guards are not considered employees of the school district. So I don't think that's something really we want to get into the business of either, is employing people to police the streets of a municipality. It's kind of not staying in our lane. So,
I mean, I'm open to having them come in.
Okay.
You should come in.
All right, so I'll ask Vince to come in to the November board meeting. Should give him enough time prior to the January 1 adoption. All right, thank you. In this packet also is some information on, Anthem is our new insurance carrier, and Kathy and I have been meeting over the last few months with representatives of the Retired Teachers Association. When we first switched to Anthem, I think there was issues regarding one-off issues with payments here and there, but I think that what we're finding is the biggest concern from folks seems to be the $15 copays that people felt that they were being, I don't think this has anything to do with Anthem, but the double copays, people go to the doctor's office, they get a $15 copay, they get sent over for an EKG down the hall, and it's another $15 copay. And people who are immunocompromised or have issues with their health in general are finding that the numbers, the costs are racking up pretty quickly. Other districts nearby, it's like Johnstown, for example, has an Anthem plan, and they asked us to do a side-by-side comparison, and that's what you have in front of you, is a side-by-side comparison. And if you see the yellows, those are, the yellow would indicate that it's a service that is better for the Johnstown plan, and the orange would be something that's better in the Gloversville plan. So frankly, you know, the Johnstown plan has obviously much cheaper co-pays. I think that's the biggest difference in this. And the one thing that Gloversville has in their plan, which is quite a bit more beneficial, is for hearing aids. The first page of that document breaks down for you current renewal costs, the district's percentage share, what a $10 copay would be. The district share, you see, is an increase of $106,714. And then the $5 copay up to almost $155,000, with losing 50% of the hearing aid benefits. So Kathy and I have obviously had a lot of conversations about this, because we're not sure all retirees frankly feel as strongly about switching, because if you don't go to the doctor as much and you're happy with the cost of the plan, you might not be happy if the district says, well, here's a new plan and your premium's going up. This right here would be $26 monthly. So we, again, this is not something that Kathy and I could enter into. This is something the Board of Education would have to decide if we want to pursue anything further. And I'm not looking for an answer tonight. I'd ask you to go home, kind of familiarize yourself with this information, and you know, we'll circle back up and get a direction to go. Kath, did I leave anything important out?
I think so.
All right, next, you'll see that there is not a recommendation for department coordinators on this agenda once again. A fundamental difference of opinion continues to exist between the GTA and the district regarding what was and what was not negotiated in the last contract. So we're still at an impasse with that. I have notified the union leadership that I haven't told the department chairs or those who are earmarked to serve in that position and have thus far since the start of the school year, that we are going to ask them to continue through the month of October in that capacity. And if we're unable to reach an agreement by November, then those positions would not be continued. They would be prorated and paid for the first 2 months of the school year. So we're hopeful we can come to some resolution. Any questions on that? Just wanted to remind the board that on October 20th through the 22nd, Sharon, John, and Kelly will be in New York City for the annual NYSSBA convention. Pretty exciting.
We always are.
You laugh. Yeah, looking forward to it. I'm sure there'll be lots of good things to learn there. We also have a regionalization discussion with the commissioner at Amsterdam High School this Thursday at 3 o'clock, 3 to 4 p.m. Sharon, you're going to attend with Chris and I. So the regionalization is obviously something that I think people misunderstand what the government, state government, Department of Education is trying to achieve. I think regionalization, everybody goes right to regional high schools and loss of identity of school districts, and that's not what this, it's poorly named, frankly, because I think that's why everybody goes there. They think the state wants schools to consolidate, and that's not what I've learned. I think it's about, it's almost creating a system that good districts, good BOCES have been doing for a long time, ensuring that there's sharing of services. I mean, the Board of Cooperative Educational Services is the acronym that speaks for what the regionalization effort really is trying to capture, to make sure that programmatically, operations, and any other way possible, districts can share resources. I think it's mostly to ensure equity for rural small schools, that they have access to, whether it's enrichment, opportunities, things like that. So I think our region does a pretty good job of working together already, but we will go through the exercise, and there's templates and our own data that we can look at. It's Dr. Ziskin's responsibility to compile it for the component schools and submit it to the state of New York. And I think we're going to see some sort of annual or biannual repeating of this process to ensure that those efficiencies are found and utilized. Chris, that capture it pretty well?
To the best of my knowledge, yes. There is a reflection piece about how we feel regionalization could positively impact the district. What are some downfalls that we could see? So we're just delving into that process now.
So it'll be certainly a year-long effort, and like I said, I think it's something that's not just busy work. It's something they think will drive decision-making at the state level and certainly the regional level moving forward.
Yes.
So Sharon, if you want to ride, let me know. Happy to pick you up.
Driving Miss Daisy.
I get lost wherever I go.
And we also have a retreat that night. Just remind the board, we have a retreat at 5:30 to review our district goals for the school year and kind of go do a deeper dive on those. So not any questions? That concludes my report.
All right, any questions? All right. Move on to the next item on the agenda, it's administrative report. I'll turn it over to our high school principal, Christina Lewis. I'll move out of the way.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and give a brief update. I might have to come back a second time just to give specific updates in regards to some changes to the master schedule because I would like to be able to discuss the impact of that a little bit later in the year, but for now, we'll go ahead and get started with our goals. So as you guys are all aware, the district recently adopted 3 new goals. So in response to that, the building is focusing on setting goals around all of those so that we can work collectively towards seeing improvement. The first one is on relationships. And in response to that, we have developed a high school mentor program. The goal of the mentor program is to not only hopefully see academic improvement in some of our most at-risk students, but also to help them understand other opportunities that they might have post-graduation. In addition to that, their emotional and overall mental health and mental well-being will also be something that is focused on. We're very fortunate in all of our buildings, but definitely in the high school building, to have a large majority of our faculty and staff that are highly motivated to see students succeed. And hopefully with that, we will be able to bring in at least 20 mentors that will work with 2 scholars each on targeted goals. So there will be templates and things that they will be completing to ensure fidelity, of course, but also to allow us to track progress forward and to see what changes we would need to make to this mentor program to allow it to really reach, maximum success. So it will be a little bit different than the mentoring that we have done in the past. It will be very much specific to each individual student and their goals that they need to set. The goals will be on everything from increasing their attendance, which as we know is a focus of the district, but also towards seeing academic success and walking away with post-graduation plans. Because as we know, if we can connect them to something beyond what happens within the school day, they are more likely to come to school and engage. Any questions with the mentor program or anything I can help clarify with that?
You hope to have them all on the November agenda?
That is going to be my goal. We were just waiting for this evening to ensure that the MOAs were approved by the Board of Education, and then as soon as that takes place, hopefully today, we'll be able to post those positions. If we need to interview, we'll do that depending on the number that do apply. We'll hold a training session with them to make sure that after they've gone through that training, they are still in fact interested, and then we'll get everybody board approved.
Awesome. Any questions on it?
Sounds
great. Nice job.
And if any of you would like to see the handbook that goes along with that, we can provide that to you as well. The second goal is obviously why we're here, which is Scholastic Achievement. Part of what the elementary schools have been so fortunate to be able to do is unify their instruction, right? So they are able to implement CKLA across grade levels, which allows them to engage in consistent data-driven conversations around performance indicators. As you guys are aware, secondary instruction is a little bit different than that because every classroom is doing something unique. But what, in working with Dr. Wojcicki, we have been able to do is begin initial training on the science of reading at the secondary level, which is allowing our staff to understand the hard work the elementary educators are putting in to better prepare the scholars to come to us. So now we're going to be engaging with that so we can have common language with our scholars so that as they come through the system, we're being very uniform in the way in which we're educating them to hopefully build that fidelity. The other side of it is we've had training with Shane and Brinkman for their during opening conference days. They'll go through their second round of training during the October conference day on Friday to just, again, beef up their understanding of what we know to be effective instructional practices around reading. We have a new reading teacher at the high school, which for me is extremely exciting because if you are unable to read at the secondary level, you cannot access your learning. So we have approximately 60 students that are engaging with specific literacy or reading instruction for the first time. The hope is that we will naturally start to see them engage more in classrooms because, again, if they're unable to read on grade level, it makes learning that much more difficult. And when learning is difficult, we don't come to school. The next portion of that is regular data analysis by our core area teachers. Again, the PLC model is something that has been alive and well for years at the elementary levels, and we're just coming around to adding that into the secondary in a formalized way. The staff has engaged with data frequently for years, but we're now streamlining that process so that we can track it and make sure that I can be more effective and efficient in my role in supporting them. So it's not necessarily that the teachers were not doing it. I think that the administrative level was not overseeing it the way we could have to best support them in meeting their needs. So that's kind of what we're doing now. They have a data protocol sheet that they're going to go through, which will identify their risk factors. It will ask them to create action and targeted implementation steps towards improvement. So we're excited to be able to do that, and I'm excited to be able to engage in more effective conversations with the instructional staff because they'll have the information in front of me that I need. And then the last one, is to improve our quarterly recovery that we implemented last year. So this goes along with academic support that I'll discuss here in a couple moments. But last year we struggled getting the scholars to complete their quarterly recovery packet. So what would take place is if a child was unsuccessful in quarter one and just needed a little more time to learn those standards, we implemented a quarterly recovery packet for them. However, if they weren't able to do it the first time, how on earth did we expect them to do it the second? So now the hope is in academic support, we'll be able to engage them with their teachers to get the support that they need to close those gaps and hopefully increase those region scores at the end of the year. Any questions with goal 2? Okay. Post-secondary and career readiness is our third goal. We have implemented School Links. We are going into, I believe, our third year with School Links, so we're going to continue forward with that, which gives scholars access to assessments that help them decide what their skill sets connect to after graduation so they can make informed decisions about colleges that they might want to go to, trade schools that they could attend, is the Career and Technical Center right for me, and all of those kinds of things that we do offer our scholars, but we want to make sure that those decisions kind of have a little meat behind them, if you will, and that they know why they're selecting them. We're trying to improve what we're offering to our scholars, so we're going to continue to host career days and hopefully add more of those throughout the course of the year. Last year we had one. The hope is to have more than one this year. College caravans, we had our first on site, and then we had 2 groups of students, or 2 busloads of students head out to FMCC for theirs as well already this year. And then we will have our informal parent nights and things of that nature in regards to financial aid and how do you apply and do all of those things for college. The last one is probably the one that I'm most proud of. Most all of our departments have already set their goal. So our teachers are working extremely hard and see the value in post-secondary and career readiness. And they've engaged, each of the department chairs have engaged their departments in conversations around what can we do as this group of teachers to make sure that we're supporting the scholars as best as we can to be prepared for the future. So far we've seen everything from the math department, for example, thinking of taking a group of students to Stewart's, which, as you know, Stewart's offers employment for anybody with a high school degree right through a master's and beyond. So by engaging the students and showing them those opportunities, they can say, I can do job A if I am able to graduate from high school. I can do job B if I'm able to obtain a 2-year degree, and then right through a master's and things of that nature. So that I'm excited about, and it seems as though the building really understands the value in supporting students and understanding what they can do after graduation.
When do you expect to have your first career day?
So we usually do one in the spring, so I want to do one in the winter and then one in the spring.
Yeah, I like the idea of doing.
Yeah, more than one.
Gives you something to think about.
Any other questions with that? That brings me to the change in the bell schedule for the 24-25 school year. This has probably been one of the larger lifts that I've seen in my time in the district, but it's also something I'm probably most proud of. I think it has the ability to change what we offer and how we offer it to our scholars. The academic support period is a time of the day where all of the children in the building have an opportunity to attend extracurricular meetings, to attend Regents review classes. So when you think about something like equity and access to programming, this is how we can do it. We service a demographic of students that they have to work to support their families, or they attend sports after school, and attending review classes or participating in certain clubs or with their classes becomes non-existent to them. We service a large percentage of our population as special education students. They require transportation. They are unable to attend extracurricular events that are outside of the school day because the buses are no longer on campus. So in getting feedback from the instructional staff of, unfortunately our children are not attending review classes, or they're attending at really low numbers. Our kids cannot go to events with clubs after school. I looked at the minutes and found a way to repurpose them to allow that equity to take place. I do have high hopes for this time, especially as we progress towards our June Regents exams. In January as well, we do hope to offer some review classes then, but I really do believe it will allow children to attend review classes no matter what they have going on after school. It will give them access. Any questions with a change to the...
One of the things I've also noticed is entire class, when I was up there during academic support, the sophomore class was having a class meeting during this time, so you're not missing instruction for those things. Obviously, I've been doing this a long time, and there's no other district or schedule that I've been in where when you're holding class meetings, somebody's not being impacted in the class.
We had
That's great.
Justin's was on site with our sophomore class today, so they were able to meet with the entire sophomore class. We can ensure everybody got the packet that they need. The kids can ask questions and things of that nature. Sure. The building doesn't currently have an SIP this year, but I wanted to make sure that you are aware we are still focusing on the areas that were in last year's plan. These are data points that we discussed last year, and you can see we're moving forward in all areas. The data that you're seeing from last year is September data as well. So currently we're at 90, or for the month of September, we were at 90.66% of our students attending on a daily basis versus 88.53 the day before. That's a huge improvement in 1 year. Obviously, our target should be roughly 92 to 93% attendance on any given day to reduce our chronic absenteeism rate, but we are moving in that direction. We are seeing our students come to school on a more frequent basis, and hopefully with the implementation of the mentor program, we'll just continue to see that number rise. Decreasing tardies. I'm not as surprised to see the number is going down here, because when you have homeroom, students are less worried about getting to school, and we've eliminated homeroom this year, so they know it's period 1 they need to arrive for. So you can see we are seeing more students arrive to school on time. And then the last one is our discipline data, which is starting to go down. In a moment, I will talk to you about the yonder pouches, so we know we'll see a little bit of an influx when we do implement those, but right now we are on track to see a reduction as well.
Christina, you have a variance in inappropriate to define. Is that intentional?
Yes, so something that I was, yeah, sorry, I should have put my water up here. Every time, thank you. So something that I was proud of is we're seeing a reduction in defiant behavior in the building. It didn't even make the list for top 5 this year. So to me, that tells us that we're beginning to see scholars that respect their adults in the building and understand expectation. So with that decrease, is that one not even in the top 5? And the technology use, last year was the first year we did the no phones, and this year we're doing that as well. So it's interesting to see those numbers are in the exact same spot. Any questions with this data? Fall Funday, just a little bit of a reminder about this. We do this every year. It's the 3rd year that we have done it. I started it when I first came. This year we had 18 different activities for the students to choose from, and then the midday presentation was a performance by the Caroga Arts Collective, which I think, we have kids in the audience, I think they enjoyed it. The feedback that I got when they were coming out was one of the better whole school performances they've had. It was current music, it was engaging and interactive for them, so I think that they did enjoy that. But those are just some pictures from them. Okay, before we move on to data, I will discuss the yonder pouches a little bit. So the yonder pouches, they did arrive on campus. I have them here with me if you'd like to see them before you leave, or I can pass them around. We are set to implement them on Tuesday, the 15th, so next Tuesday. We are holding class meetings. We met with the sophomores before they met with Jostens today to discuss implementation. And then we will meet with the remaining classes the rest of this week to just ensure that they understand how they will roll out and those expectations. But each student, when they enter campus, will be provided one daily. They won't take them home just because we do fear that they won't return back to campus. But if there is a child who is worried about germs, we do intend on cleaning the pouches daily to make sure that that doesn't take place. But if the scholar is really concerned about the germs, the transfer of that, they will be able to purchase/lease the pouches, and then their name and their picture will go inside of it, so that when they're exiting campus, we'll know that this child can take it home with them. So we're trying to make it conducive to everybody to be able to feel comfortable about the process, and things of that nature. If it's a child that has a medical concern, if they have a Dexcom, for example, for diabetes, they will be provided a Velcro pouch so that they have one like everyone else, but they can access their phone in the nurse's office when necessary, to ensure that their health is of top priority. If we have a child that is in crisis or really needs to access their phone for any reason at all, there will be magnets to release available all day in the office, guidance, and then possibly the nurse's office. We're going to hold off on the nurse's office for now and see how it goes with that one, just to avoid an influx of children trying to get to the nurse. Yeah. Any questions with the yonder pouches?
Just for what it's worth, I was speaking with Dave Ziskin the other day, and he was a longtime principal at Amsterdam High School. They've instituted the yonder pouches, and he said it's a different building. So let's hope that whatever difference he's referring to for him to mention that the building is night and day compared to how it was when he was there for 8 years. I hope I think our kids are behaving pretty good in high school anyway, from what I can see. But if this is going to help them stay focused, engage, and just talking face to face with their peers, but most importantly, engage in their learning, it's going to be great.
And to clarify how it will work, if a child decides they want to purchase/lease, at the end of the year when they turn their pouch back in, we will give the money back to them. So it's just kind of like that fee of, you're going to pay for it, you're going to return it, and we're going to give you your money back.
In your update for me, folks, there is the changes to the code of conduct regarding the yonder pouches. So at your leisure, feel free to look at it, but we just had a hearing at 6, nobody came?
No.
Okay, so that will be adopted tonight into the code of conduct.
Remind us what the cost of the pouch are.
Yeah, so each pouch is $30. So each one does cost, so that is what the leasing fee or purchase fee would be for the
Got it.
scholar. Yeah.
How does this coincide with, because this will be coming out, launching about the same time tiers launch for sports as well? Will this coincide, how will this coincide with sports, disciplinary action, and things like that?
So yonder pouch is considered a tier 1 intervention. They require school districts to implement with all students in order to be able to purchase the pouches. So every student, regardless of academic performance or where they fall, will be provided a pouch upon entering the building and things of that nature. If they leave for senior privileges, we will obviously unlock them for safety. When they head out to CTC, we will unlock them for them as well. Anytime they exit campus, we will make sure that they can open their pouch so that they do have access should an emergency arise. The last few slides, I'm not going to go over each one of them individually, but I did want to provide you with our most recent data for Regents exams. You'll notice a trend upwards. We have work to do, there is no question about it, but we have been focusing on improvement in the building. We have been having conversations around how we can use our data to make those informed, targeted decisions about what we teach, when we teach it, and how we teach it. And we are seeing a trend upwards. We are growing, not as fast as I'm sure everyone around this table would like to see, but our data is moving up. When you're comparing the January ELA or the January data, just Keep in mind that historically, all students tested in January, and we moved them to a June administration. That's why you're seeing a little bit of discrepancy in numbers tested and pass rate from January of 2023 to January or June of 23, because we transitioned when the bulk of the students test. They used to all test in January, now everybody tests in June. The other one that I want to make sure I point out is there was a new assessment administered in algebra this year. So you'll see a decrease in proficiency rates amongst scholars, both at the high school campus and also the middle school campus, but that was the first time that the new standards and the new assessment was assessed. All teachers, like I mentioned, are going through an extensive data analysis to determine how we can best leverage the instructional time that we have to ensure improvement in those areas. I can wait a moment that way if you'd like to look it over, I can answer any questions.
What do you attribute the climb, pretty dramatic climb from 22 to 24 in geometry?
So if you'll notice, both geometry and algebra 2 saw an extensive increase in proficiency rates. So both of these individual departments have, or both of these individual tests, they've made an effort to align their assessments with their Regents exams. So when talking with the math department during academic support period, especially the Algebra 2 teachers have focused specifically on making sure that the questions that they are asking on their unit assessments mirror or are former Regents questions. And then just to kind of point out or to highlight some more of our positives, because I do think it's a wonderful thing to see. You have chemistry and physics on the screen. You'll notice that over here, we had to move up to the 80% because we are seeing growth in those areas. To see 95% of your students reach proficiency on an exam means that there's a lot of positive things taking place in those areas. Same with physics. We saw an amazing climb there as well. Any questions for me?
Thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is the student board member report.
Once again, I'd like to say thank you guys for all of your time. I appreciate you. Mrs. Lies, wonderful report. I couldn't agree more with what you said. Overall, the Gloversville High School, it's going great. There are a few little problems, but I will address them later. It's nothing crazy. As of right now, I can't say that students love academic support anymore. It's wonderful. Like you're saying, class meetings can get done more efficiently. Clubs are able to meet after school, which allows time for sports after school. And after school activities like later on in the year when we have Regents reviews, those will be much, much more efficient. Overall though, academic support is going wonderful. The lunch menus have gotten a lot better. The food that the cafeteria is serving is much higher in quality. The portions are better. That's another thing students were excited about. Just this past month, we had our homecoming weekend, which was wonderful, starting out with our football game on Friday night, and then we had homecoming on Saturday. The dance was wonderful. And then Sunday we had our powder puff game. The seniors did win, not to brag, but it did go pretty well. And then before homecoming weekend, we actually had our fall Funday, which was also a wonderful success, as she was talking about with the Kuroga Performing Arts. We had wonderful stations. A big thank you to Ms. Lias again, and Mr. Waring, and our SEL committee for what they did. So thank you for that, guys. Now, this is about the lunches as well. As much as the food has gotten better, getting the food is kind of a little bit of a struggle. So I did a little bit of a survey, and I did time multiple students going through the lunch line today. It does sound a little strange, but the average time for going through the lunch line takes 12 minutes, 12 and a half minutes. which is quite a bit of time, especially when we have about a 20-minute lunch period. So there's not much time to eat, and as a result, a lot of kids are coming to their classes after with their lunches still. So they're just kind of throwing it onto a small paper tray and finishing it up in their next class. Now, we do have our lunch vending machines, which the CTE kids are enjoying and our work-based learning kids. So that's definitely helping to get lunches out a little bit faster. I think one of the largest problems, though, with our lunches and why they're taking a little bit longer is a lot of the food is self-serve now. So instead of having, prepackaged fruit or something, we're scooping our own fruit, which is taking a lot more time. I know it sounds super small, but it really does impact a lot of scholars' days. But besides that, like I said, the food's better and our vending machine is working pretty well. As of right now, with the honor pouches rolling out, there definitely is a little student concern, but our administration and our teachers are doing a wonderful job to reassure our students and communicate all information that they are getting regarding the honor pouches and the expectations that will follow with them. But as of that, I would say everything in the high school is going pretty well, so thank you for your time.
I thought you should have won that competition at the pep rally.
Oh, hey,
I don't know what happened there.
it's just that mascot costume, it's hard to throw on.
All right, next item is recommended action. We have items 8.01 through 18.31. Any questions or comments on any of those? Motion to approve by Kevin, seconded by Ed. All in favor on that? All right, then I need a motion to go into executive session to discuss contract items. Motion by John, seconded by Mike. All in favor? Aye. All right, thank you, everyone. There'll be no action taken after the executive session.